Welcome back. Let's talk about what really happens to your mind and your mental health after you've left Jehovah's Witness organisation. Now, whilst I'm aiming this mostly to ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, it obviously can apply in any situation. So for many of us, it's not just leaving, it is a psychological crash. So if you've grown up, or even if you joined the religion later on, but still spent many years, even decades in it, you're used to being told exactly who you are, what your purpose is, what your future holds, and it's a very black and white reality. You're told that the world is dangerous, that Satan is the god of the system of things, so he controls everything, that people are under his influence, and the only way to be on the right side is to be a baptized Jehovah's Witness. So when you do finally leave, it's not just like leaving a religion, like you could go to church, you don't go to church, it makes no difference, nobody notices. It's actually losing your identity. You literally come out not knowing who you are, without the truth, even if you've no longer believe in it. You just don't know how to exist outside of this organization. Like, what is your role like? And the missing of the reward, this so-called reward of paradise on earth that you spend so long believing in. And that kind of identity loss can actually lead to very deep depression, anxiety, and even depersonalization. You start feeling like you're watching yourself from the outside because nothing feels real anymore. I remember how derealized I would get at times, just doing mundane things after leaving Jehovah's Witness organisation, and how I felt like I was out of my body because nothing felt real. And you start questioning everything, like what's right, what's wrong, meaning of life, what happens after death, morality, purpose, even like, does anyone have any truth? Is there such thing as truth? Is it just all make believe? And literally your inner compass, it's completely shattered. And because the so-called independent thinking was discouraged in the Jehovah's Witness cult, you become overwhelmed by the choices and the uncertainty, and it becomes paralyzing because you literally don't even know what to think anymore. Sometimes you may still get the occasional thought, well, what if they are actually right? What if I am going to die at Armageddon? But for me personally, even if they were right, I would rather die at Armageddon than ever, be a Jehovah's Witness again. And you kind of feel like everything you've ever believed in was a lie, at least for a lot of us. And you enter this cycle of guilt, fear, confusion, which is all like classic symptoms of religious trauma. Now, there's also this deep loneliness, this feeling like you don't belong anywhere. Not just because you most likely have lost your Jehovah's Witness family or, and friends, but because you feel like you don't belong anywhere anymore. It's very confusing, to put it mildly. So the world that Jehovah's Witnesses were teaching you, the Watchtower, that the world is evil and dangerous, and now you're in this world and you're expected to function like everyone else, but you don't know how. And inside you feel like you're an alien. like you've missed a whole lifetime of social development. It's almost like your memory's missing. You don't have cultural awareness, or the emotional freedom. It's like, literally like an alien arriving on Earth, and then, you're supposed to be an adult and know all these things, but you don't. And then you start struggling with trust, because you're always taught about not trusting people in the world, and only trusting brothers and sisters, and you become emotionally dysregulated because you've never been taught how to feel emotionally safe and be a self-led adult. You've always been taught to rely on the governing body, rely on what the elders say, read up the magazines, read in the Bible. You've never learned to think for yourself. So many Jehovah's Witnesses, ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, actually experience symptoms that you can actually call complex PTSD. We get flashbacks, emotional shutdowns. You get this panic, extreme hypervigilance because of the ingrained beliefs about, oh no, Satan's going to get me, or something like that, and it's just the shame as well. And then you might feel numb 1 minute and then overwhelmed another. Then you start over apologizing because that's what you were taught, to always apologize. You're overthinking, and then maybe even start isolating yourself because you were always trained to constantly self-monitor, suppress, always tell yourself that you're not a good person because you were born in sin. And you still have that fear of doing the wrong thing, thinking of the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing. It almost like it never leaves. It just finds new ways to haunt you. It's like a ghost. But the truth is, you and me were not broken. We were just programmed. It was false programming. And, slowly unlearning everything, what was never ours to begin with. The beliefs that we were spoon-fed, or rather force-fed. So the pain and the confusion, it's not a weakness. It's just simply evidence that your nervous system is trying to find safety in a world that once felt unsafe and was told that it is a threat. And healing takes time. I have been out of Jehovah's Witness organisations since 2018, and I would still say that I probably only like 70-80% healed from it. I still got a while to go. So it's rebuilding, and even if you feel like you're starting from scratch, you're not alone, because there are thousands of us out there. So many are on YouTube as well, on social platforms, writing books, trying to get awareness out, trying to remember who we were before being indoctrinated, which is probably harder for those who were born and raised as Jehovah's Witnesses. But we can all then discover who we were never allowed to become, pursuing our own interests and finding out what we actually like and don't like, what we, are passionate about. And it feels like a process of grieving. It's grief, it's questioning, unraveling, and it's okay. It means you're waking up, and just got to stay with it, because we're all worth rebuilding. We're all worth giving ourselves that self-love that we did not receive.